Today, I'm bringing in a real estate agent who does a lot of investing herself, and we're going to discuss how a 1031 exchange has helped her business. So let's get right into the conversation. So Ashlee, it's great to have you here. Thanks for joining us. So, as a real estate investor, can you describe your overall experience, with using a 1031 exchange in your own personal investments?
Absolutely. I bought a property, renovated the property, put in a long-term renter. It was cash flowing, but the cash flow was pretty minimal. And so of course I call Ryan because you're my 1031 guy, and we chatted about my options, and I eventually decided to go ahead and sell that property because I did come across one that I wanted to purchase that would actually produce more income for me. And so we got rid of that. Even though I was still in the positive on cash flow, I was able to sell it, use the 1031 to purchase the next one that's now making more money than the first one.
And I think I remember that, that when you came to us and we were talking it out, and the importance of having someone like myself as a qualified intermediary, we can talk it through, determine the strategy that you want to take, what you're trying to do, the time frames and everything, and how it might work for you to help you kind of move along from that first property into that next larger property that's going to cash flow more for you on that end. So it's great with that. So obviously the 1031 helped you defer those capital gains tax on that sale, and I think now you still have that property that you have in there, that renter. How does that kind of impact your strategy, knowing that you can defer those capital gains tax? Working with your CPA, I'm sure, and with that. So how does that kind of help your strategy when you're looking for other properties, knowing that you can defer those capital gains taxes?
Sure. So utilizing a 1031 exchange is a game changer because you save me a ton of money. So before, when I'm running numbers, my options were a little bit more limited than they are now because of not having to calculate in that later cost of paying taxes on the proceeds of a sale. So being able to avoid that and put that extra chunk of money basically into the property that I'm purchasing, it's opened up my options on what I'm able to buy.
Right. No, it's great, because that money when you go to sell, that tax, you're putting that to the side. You're gonna have to pay that, but here, you're able to kind of defer it into, put into that next resource for you, or that next property for you. So it's a great tool, being able to defer that. Gives you more bottom line dollars to use towards your next property there. From that too, the next question we have is, how does a 1031 exchange allow you to diversify your portfolio? What kind of properties do you have in your real estate portfolio now, and how does that 1031 help you? How did 1031 help you get to that point, from that end? Where'd you start with, and how to where you're at now?
Absolutely. So, I've been in the single family investing world for a while, and utilizing a 1031 exchange, meeting you and getting more education from you has helped me to realize, like, hey, I have this extra money that I don't have to pay taxes on, so I can utilize that to buy more. So selling a single family home, maybe there's $100,000 profit on that property, and not having to pay taxes out of that, I can now take that money and go buy a lot to build a single family home, do a build to rent. I can take some of that money, buy another single family home, and then I can take a chunk of that money as well and put it into like a multifamily syndication.
Duplex,
yeah,
commercial
exactly.
property and everything. So yeah, we see the benefit of that, being, I know we've worked together and seen the benefit of selling that one property, and we talked about some of the strategy there of, can I buy these other two properties? Would that satisfy that? And it does, that's the beauty of the 1031, being able to go from one property to multiple properties. Now you have two forms of cash flow coming in that you can kind of adjust from that, and you can build that. So it's that exponentially helps build your real estate portfolio with that. So,
Absolutely,
yeah.
and increases my cash flow that's coming in.
That specific example, of the 1031 exchange and how it's increased your cash flow, I think you've kind of touched base a little bit with that on that side of there. So, now as an investor too, what challenges have you encountered? We talk about all the good things, right, that come through with the 1031. What about some of the challenges that you've seen, while trying to go through a 1031? What comes up from an investor standpoint there?
I would say that, the time frame is what it is. So when you're buying a property and you're using a 1031 exchange, you have that 45 days to basically report that you found a property. So I would say, in today's market, with there being a lack of inventory on the MLS, it's good to have resources that can find you off-market properties. And typically those properties need a lot of work, but you get them at a discounted price, right? So it works when you're going to do the rehab on them, and then you can calculate your cash flow from there. But I would just say it's almost better to find the property you want to buy, because you can do the reverse 1031 exchange if you need to, but buy the property you want to buy first, and then if you're selling a property to buy that using the 1031 strategy, put that on the market immediately, have your offer stretched out a little bit so that you can make sure to give your time to the property that needs to sell. Or if you come to a place where you can't sell that right away, you use the reverse. So it actually, I would say the time frame is a little challenging. It kind of puts the fun into it because you still have that other option of doing the reverse.
You've come and like we've questioned some of the strategies here, and we talk about, look, your time frame doesn't start until you actually sell that first property, until you sell that first relinquish. So if you're eyeing a property out there, go, let's get it started. Let's strategize behind, okay, if I can do this, and this is the property I want, let's get this under contract so I'm not constrained to the time frame there. Then we can start selling your other property, and once that closes, that starts our time frame there. So I know we've kind of talked strategy behind that. Going from that, how has the 1031 just kind of enabled you, it's obviously enabled you to upgrade to a more profitable property, correct? I mean,
Yes.
That's kind of the goal, is to go from probably a low return that you're getting, a low cash flow, and saying, this is not meeting my needs now. Let's try to move it to a more cash flow heavy property, correct? Or...
Yes. Well, and it's great because you can keep rolling that over. Right. So there really is no end to it unless you just stop buying and selling real estate, but you couldn't put off paying those taxes utilizing the 1031 exchange if you just continue to invest,
Right. So how's, as a real estate investor, obviously you have goals, there's long-term investment goals. How's the 1031, or are you at your long-term goal yet? Or are you still looking? How's the 1031 helping you achieve to get to that long-term generational wealth goal, or whatever that goal might be?
Sure. So I'm not at the end yet. I don't know if I'll ever find that, but just because I love what I do. But I'll say that using the 1031 exchange has saved me money. It allows me to invest more money into these deals that I'm buying that's producing more cash flow, instead of getting hit by Uncle Sam and having to pay, the taxes on it. So,
okay. So long term, and obviously, we know each other, and we've talked about it. So, as that real estate investor, what's motivating you more, to continue through that? Is it the family you're helping, and that's why you're in this long-term investment goal of being able to place someone into these type of properties for you?
Definitely. It's definitely part of my why, being able to provide reliable, safe single-family residence or multifamily residence to people that need a place to live but can't afford to buy their own home. It's definitely part of my why. Also, I really love the challenge of trying to continue to build up that portfolio, move from single family into commercial, having that opportunity to not pay taxes on that transition, having someone like you to help guide that path on saving me on paying those taxes, and then it just continues to build up the cash flow to give me freedom in my life.
It's a great why, and every investor has their reason why they're in real estate, and you can see it's, yours is to be able to help other people be able to get into a home that, they might not have that opportunity to.
Absolutely. I've lived in homes that weren't in the greatest condition because the investor maybe just bought one or two and didn't know what to do in order to maybe grow his portfolio, or, just didn't have the funds to make it immaculate and comfortable. But when you do that, you get to charge the max market rent, and, it's all about knowledge. It's all about knowledge, resources. Who do you have in your pocket that's also willing to educate you? So this has been a great relationship between myself as an investor and, your business doing the 1031 exchanges.
No, I'm glad we've been able to help with that. So that's great with that. So kind of all the questions I have, Ashlee, appreciate you coming out and sharing your time on being an investor, and how the 1031 helps you, how we've been able to help you, to achieve your long-term goals there. So appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you always being, resourceful and answering the call, Ryan, because I'm going to call you for the next one.
Always on call, 24/7 for you.
So Thanks, Ryan. Thank you.
That wraps up this short interview, and hopefully you got a lot of value out of this. And if you're an investor who doesn't have a good relationship with a 1031 exchange partner, reach out and I can show you how our team can help you assist. Thanks for watching, and we can't wait to see you with our next video.